So there's a couple great important things to note. The first one is that really great employees, they might come for the job, but they're going to stay for the breakthroughs. They're going to stay for the experience. Great employees won't stay for the money and the raises and this and that. Like they're going to stay for your culture and the breakthroughs that are created there in your practice. And those of you that have had great employees stay for a long time, I'm sure you've already had that experience. So, step one is really where to look for the right person. I get this question all the time. Where do I look for the right person? And I wish that I could tell you there was some like magic hiring place to get the best CAs. Oh my gosh, it's Craigslist. No, it's Indeed. You got to get them there. I wish I could tell you that. But it's not. This is an area I haven't found like a magical location. For instance, one of the best CAs I've known was a waitress at the chiropractor's favorite restaurant. And she asked her if she'd ever considered doing anything different. Another was a barista. I was a patient actually on the table, and my chiropractor, Nona, asked me, have you ever considered, working in wellness or healthcare? I don't even remember, and literally pulled me back to that office, her office, that day, and basically started to interview me. And that's how my original chiropractic job was born. So you never know where you can find these people. There isn't like some magic place, click of a button. However, step two here is that clarity is power. So when you're looking at how do I find the right person, you're going to find the right person when you have clarity and certainty of the environment that you want to create. So here's where, even if you're not hiring now, but you might be in the future, do you have clarity and certainty of the environment that you want to create in your practice, or that you are creating? Does everyone on the team members out there, do you have clarity of the environment that you want to create? If not, ask your doctor. Do this in a team retreat, a team meeting. Create your vision so that you have absolute clarity, because then it's really easy to measure hiring decisions against your vision. Whether a person is a good fit or not, I measure them against my vision of where we're going. Do they fit into that? Same thing for really all decisions that you're going to make in practice. Every decision along the way, not just hiring. Does it match? Does it fit the vision of where we're going? And it's easy. When you ask it through that filter, that lens, it's easy. Yes, no, yes, no. You can make those decisions very quickly based off of having clarity on your overall vision. So here's some questions I wrote down for you guys that you can ask. What is my culture here? Use that answer, whatever your culture is, to measure any potential hires. Do they fit into the culture that we are creating? What's your mission statement? What are your core values? What's your lifestyle? If they don't fit, they don't fit, right? And then also think about like, what lifestyle are we promoting and creating for patients? How important is it that the doctor and the entire team are on point with that lifestyle and that culture, if that's what you're asking other people to do? Okay, so step number 3, I broke these common doctor and manager questions into steps so that I can answer all those questions here at once on this live. So step number 3 is like what to look for. How do I identify? How do I spot that good person, that magic CA? Of course, people put their best foot forward in an interview and look good, but what if it doesn't turn out that way down the road? Like, what are some things to look for? So I've made some bullet points for you to write down in your hiring guide. So the first one is looking for someone that's very solution oriented, that can filter through the visionary, you and I, as the business owners, the visionary that can filter through that and be very solution oriented. And you're going to hear that in their language that they use, even in the interviewing process. Look for someone with that little twinkle in their eye, spark, that joy, and brings that essence. Who they are is going to highly influence the environment that you're creating. Are they the kind of person that just makes someone's day better just looking at them? And you're going to know that right away, right? So looking for someone that naturally looks at the glass half full versus glass empty is another thing I'm really looking for. And then once you have that, you can create a lot of freedom within that framework of having your clear vision of who you're hiring. Okay, how do I find the right person? So we did what to look for. How do I find the right person? Again, these notes are direct questions I've gotten from you guys and other chiropractors, and some answers that I found to be top notch in hiring, both for my team, but also hiring for our chiropractors when I've helped them hire. So I always like to hire for attitude and aptitude, not for experience. I don't even care if they have like amazing chiropractic experience or marketing experience. Experience and systems in chiropractic can be trained, and because you're here, you have access and resources to incredible systems. So I'm going to hire for attitude and aptitude. I want someone that can be flexible, can roll with the punches, because things change, right? Just like the spine is dynamic, the practice is dynamic. If you're constantly growing, you're in this group, so you're going to switch things up on the team. So are they really adaptable, and can they pivot really well? So, okay, so CAs, let me see here. I got way excited and off on a tangent a little bit. Let me see my notes here. We're going to skip that. Okay, so trying to think of what are going to be the most important things to cover, because I have so many notes for you guys for hiring. I think that some of you guys do group interviews, right? So raise your hand or put some thumbs up in the comments if you do group interviews or you've been trained to do group interviews of some kind. So what I've seen with a lot of practices that I've gone into for an immersion experience, they'll fly me out, I go there, I observe and watch their team, or perhaps help with some of the processes or hiring. So here's what I've observed happens a lot is people get trained on, oh, we should do group interviews, the team should hire. And they do a group interview, they have all the candidates come in, and then they have each candidate share what they're going to present, whether it's like a funny story or their name or why they want the job, and they share. So what I found is a lot of times my hirers, whether that's you here watching or someone else on the team, they're watching the person presenting. This part's really important in a group interview. I'm not going to watch the person presenting. I'm going to watch the audience. I want to see, are they engaged? Are they listening? Are they taking notes? Are they laughing? Are they asking questions? Or are they just so focused and in their own world, waiting or maybe being nervous for their turn? That's how I'm going to identify and spot who my team players are. Who are going to be the ones that if the building's burning down, they're going to run in that building and be a team player. Those are the ones that are engaged, and those are the ones that I'm going to hire. I don't really even care what the person presenting is saying or doing. It's not a public speaking position, unless it is in your case. Okay, so looking at the crowd, if you're a group interview person, and then I have some behavioral testing questions that I would also like to use in identifying if this person is going to be awesome, regardless of what their application says. So one of my favorite ones, I wrote it down here so you can write this down, is tell me about the best day at an old job that you ever had and the worst day at an old job that you ever had. Any job, like what was the best day you can think of at a job? And what was the worst day? And here's what I'm looking for. When they tell me about their worst day, I'm looking to see what was the outcome of that experience? Like how did they reframe the day? So after they tell about the worst day, was it, but I learned this or I learned that. Sometimes if I have enough rapport with a person, I'll even ask them, like, tell me about a time. I know it's obvious you're amazing, but if there was one time, tell me about a time where you made a mistake at work. Like what happened or how did that work? So some of you might be laughing if I helped interview you because you've heard these questions, or I know my team is laughing at least because I've asked them these questions. So when they share like how they messed up or the mistake they made or their really bad day, I'm looking for how did they frame that? Like, did they use that as a learning experience? Did they fix any problems that they might have created? Did they figure out how to troubleshoot and fix and course correct? Or were they just like, whoops, or that sucked, or then I was depressed for weeks, you know? So the outcome is really important. And that one's pretty obvious. You can also just look and, online and learn other great behavioral testing questions that would be really helpful in your hiring process, or ask myself. So it's just really going to show us, more about that person. So we're also going to look at what they tell you about the practice, and have they done their research? Do they really care, or is this just another place for them? So that is a nutshell of the beginning things to do to hire an amazing team. I did get a question here about shadow shifts, bringing someone in for a shadow shift, what that would look like. And I would have that as part of the interviewing process. They would come in and watch and observe everything. I'm just going to really watch and see how engaged they are, even though I've told them not to do anything, just to observe and watch. Are they still introducing themselves to people? Are they friendly? Or can they just not help but jump in and, grab a glass of water for that patient, or help that mama to the car with her car seat? Are they just jumping in? They just can't help it. Those are all really great signs of someone that would fit really well in your environment. And then strategically too, there's a lot of really cool things you could do, like disc profiling tests. I know there's several free ones online. Tony Robbins has a free one as well, to figure out like the different types of people's skill sets and what would fit into your office. So this is something that I always have people do when they start working for me, is I'll have them do a disc profiling test in the interviewing process. I think of like, what are the areas that I'm either really weak at or that I hate, like the things that I hate doing. And then I actually look to hire someone that's really good or really strong in those areas, because I know that they're going to really balance me out. That has been a game changer. The other cool thing about that test, or some personality type tests that you can have them do, is I actually save them and I put it in my systems to refer back to them on a regular basis once I've hired somebody. So if I've hired them, I'm going to save their personality tests. I'm going to save their disc profiling so that I can go back and remind myself, like, okay, this person's strengths are in this area, so those are the things I'm going to have them focus on. Or I don't like doing these things in this area, so I'm going to hire to find someone that's really great at that area. And then if you're doing other things for team building that are personality tests or love language tests, those types of fun things, I know it sounds cheesy, but I keep like a little file, on all my team members, so I can go back if I'm noticing like one team member is not totally 100% on point or something like that, or they seem like they're getting bored at their job. I might go back and look really quickly, scan over that team member's file. Okay, how do they feel loved? How do they feel, what's their main mode of communication? Or are they visual? Are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic? So I'll go back and like scan the test results and realize, oh, cool, as a leader, I can communicate to them in their way. Or this is the type of person that actually would feel really appreciated by an unexpected fat bonus. Or maybe it's the type of person that would feel really appreciated by, a handwritten thank you note, so I can go back and see and really understand my team. And I think that the more that you understand and nurture your team and really build them up as individuals, the more it's going to be natural to do that with patients as well. I have noticed in my experience, there's a direct correlation between team retention and patient retention. So a lot of times if people struggle to maintain great team members, they'll also on some level, not necessarily in every category, but on some level, struggle to maintain great patience. So, and that might just be in one specific area. Maybe that's patients after the first round of care. Maybe it's just getting patients to maintain for life. So, it's a great idea to really start with your team, with the culture that you're wanting to create, starting to create that culture with your team, even if you just have one team member. And then you've set the framework, set the frame to win the game, as my friend Roberto Monaco would say, for your patients to follow along. Because if the team's broken, like how could we really create that for patients? Again, even if it's just one team member. So I'm super excited to hear your questions and comments about hiring. Obviously, I could go in a lot more detail, but this is just a quick Team Tuesday live. If you have follow-up questions or topic requests, things for me to cover on Team Tuesday, definitely put that in the comments below. If you want me to do a whole lesson on maintaining your great team, I know we touched on that quite a bit today, but if you want me to do a whole lesson, definitely put that in the comments. I think that I have unique value in that I get to see behind the scenes, and really interact one-on-one with CAs and really see like how they're feeling and observe patterns, which is my obsession, right? Of patterns of what creates a great team member, why do they stay, why do they leave, all of those things. So it's really my mission and my goal to make sure that the chiropractors in my life or that interact with me have an extremely strong support system in their team, and a team that they can really count on, that are reliable, that are trustworthy, that do the right thing, that have great work ethic, but also most importantly are inspired and motivated at a deep level to help everybody in their life become the best versions of themselves. Because if you think about it, really that's what we do in chiropractic, is help people become the best versions of themselves. I know that that's what all of you guys have done for me. So reach out with questions and comments. Have a great day. Thank you for having me.